From the shores of Malibu, where the waves are pumping, to the Great Wall of China, and back to the streets of Las Vegas, where the UFC is happening. Happy New Year. Happy 2022. We are live. It's Time Radio, a new year to talk about what you think about and are afraid to voice, because we will talk about it for you. No holds barred radio, folks. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, politics, film, TV, UFC, you name it, we're talking about it. We're going to start the show off solid. We're going to start the show off strong with one of the strongest, most powerful, meanest, kindest, loveliest individuals I know, Ray Longo. TJ thought I was talking about him. And my co-host and producer, TJ DeSantis.
Oh, I knew you weren't talking about me. I knew that for a fact. When Ray Longo's on the line, he deserves all the compliments.
How's my favorite mofo, Ray Longo?
Yeah, doing good, Bruce. How are you, man?
Good. I know it's Longo. Logo sounded better, rhymed with mofo.
We're not gonna split hairs for a couple of hours, are we?
No. We're not gonna. We're gonna put hair and raise the cackles of the hairs on our arms. And we got to start off right off the bat. First off, I want to just say, did you have a nice Christmas?
Yeah, oh yeah. I laid low, but it was great. Spent all the time with the family, just watching movies and Christmas and New Year's, because COVID was going berserk over here, so we just decided to lay low.
It's a Christmas gift from hell, and we'll talk about it in a second. TJ, we should reveal to the world that you suffered from COVID.
Yeah,
and your Christmas is interrupted. That's why we did not have shows for 2 weeks, everybody.
Yeah.
If you're wondering, we're not closing down. It's time. It's stronger than ever.
Right.
I can't do my show without my producer and my co-host. My man had COVID.
I appreciate that, Bruce, but no, it was really bad, guys. I look at all the people that I work with, whether it's Ray and Pearl and Extra Rounds and you, Bruce. I was the last person of the crews that I've worked with to get COVID, and I thought I was kind of impervious to it. Let me tell you, I'm not impervious to it. It kicked my ass for the better part of a week and a half. And
wow. Oh, man.
Yeah, all of Christmas, I was laying in bed, guys. I was doing the fever sweats and the fever dreams. And, I was able to do what I could to make my son's Christmas the best it could be. But, man, it was very limited, to say the least.
Sorry about that, TJ. But
yeah, same here. I'm glad you're better, buddy.
Well, let's say this. And I mean it. Happy friggin' New Year,
Yeah, I'm happy it's
New
in
Year,
the past.
starting off fresh.
And let me just say, again, I don't want to make it all super political, but you think about COVID differently once you've had it, for sure, 100% differently. And I've been someone who's taking the vaccine and try to do the distancing and all that stuff. But here's another thing, guys. It doesn't really matter. You can only do the best you can. And unfortunately, it seems like it doesn't matter. But eventually, we're all going to have to get it at one point or another, it seems.
Well, let me put out a couple of key points here. Back on December 28th, CNN published a story that between Christmas and New Year's, that the Omicron surge, that we could get to possibly 500,000 a day. That was December 28th.
That's crazy.
It's January 5th. We're at 500,000 a day in 7 days. Increasing 200,000 to 500,000 cases a day. Now, I don't know how it is for you guys, but around me, more people are getting this around me than ever. As an example, my trainer, I went and trained him yesterday. I can't go train now because his son, they sent 200 kids home from school.
Right.
His son tested positive last night. Right. So now he's quarantined for 10 days. We'll train by FaceTime in our mutual gyms and stuff like that. If the amount of people 2 years ago were getting this at the rate they're getting it now, when we had no vaccine back then, just imagine how bad it would have been beyond how bad it was.
Oh, no, 100%, Bruce. I can't even imagine, to be honest with you. And that's the other thing, too, which is sort of crazy about this, is it affects so many people so different. And I was pretty sick, pretty bad. My wife was actually sicker than I was, and my son got it, and he was down for 5 hours. I'm not even kidding you. 5 hours, he was over it. He was ready to. I mean, it may have helped that Santa brought him an entire toy store, so he had some incentive to get out of bed. But my God, there's nothing worse than having it all at the same time and having it, impact 3 different people completely different from one another.
Yeah, that's what happened up in my house. I brought it home and I gave it to my 2 daughters. My wife never got it, but it was crazy, man. It's just everybody was down for like 10 days, I guess.
You're in
Yeah.
Nassau, New York, Ray, and
Yes.
you mentioned something earlier. How many people are getting it now? What is it? What is the ratio you gave?
I think it was up to 22% or 25% positivity rate.
That's 1 in
tested,
4.
which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Well, the new variant, like they said that the old one, again, we're all guinea pigs. I always say this on a daily basis. New stats are coming out. But previously they said if you're infected, the average number of people that one infected person would infect was around 3 or 4. Now I'm hearing the new one, 15.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the other thing too, guys. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but the lines, at least here, to get COVID tests.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget
Like
about
my wife waited in line for 2.5 hours to get
That's crazy.
COVID
Well,
test.
you talk about hoarding, we used to talk about hoarding of gloves and masks and
Right.
all. First off, on the masks, it's come out, cloth masks, you might as well just throw them away. Okay. They're no good.
Right.
That's what they're saying now. It's the only thing's going to help you in a mask wise is an N95 or a KN95. Even the surgical mask they're questioning now, the single little surgical mask.
Yeah, the bottom line is the mask is a good effort, I guess. It's the thought that
It's
counts
like a
almost at this
vaccine.
point.
It's like the vaccine, but if you're going to wear one, wear one that's going to work.
Sure. And
Right,
I don't know what the availability is of the N95. I don't know if anybody can just get them easily. I have 2 of them, one for my wife and one for myself. Yeah, and I definitely wear that out. But like the bottom line, guys, is like I said, I just feel like we're all at the mercy of others. So it doesn't matter what exactly we do. Even if you get the vaccine, it doesn't matter if you get the vaccine. Like, you're still at the mercy of everyone. And unfortunately, this virus, it's highly contagious, and it seems like you're going to get it.
Yeah, without it. No, you're right, TJ. Without a doubt, man. This has been, what's even crazy? Like, I do the local fights, and the local fights, you got to get tested like exactly 72 hours before you go to the fight. You can't get like that. That's a problem. I used to just go to CVS 1 minute.
Yeah.
Now 2 hours isn't even that bad, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, but now the other thing is they have these rapid.
You're a healthy person, Bruce. Then you got to go stand with potentially a lot of unhealthy people. I think it's insane.
Yeah, and then the other thing is too is they have these rapid tests, the Bannex test, the AvaCare tests. You used to be able to walk into CVS and buy 4 10 at a time. Now you can't. They're probably sold out. Talk about hoarding of masks and gloves and everything else. I've kind of hoarded on home tests. I have to. So I'm just grabbing them. I've got like 20, 30 in stock, and I got to make sure that I have them because I got to test all the time. But then how good are they on the negative test? Now they're saying
exactly. That's
don't
the other
just swab
problem.
the nose, swab the throat, then the nose, do whatever.
So my wife took 2 tests, and literally like a day apart. And the first one, we were waiting in line for 2.5 hours. It was raining. I felt like the lady that actually gave my wife the test was kind of like rude and didn't do a very good job. She tested negative, and I decided, you know what, we're going to go and we're going to pay for a test. We're going to go and actually put down the $150 to go to a clinic, and she got that, and she tested positive.
Wow.
So it's one of those things too. It could have been to where maybe she was negative that first test, but I also feel like in these drive-through, staying in line sort of things, that those people, I don't know what their medical background is, if they're all registered nurses or if they're just volunteers or whatever it is.
I think they just work there, TJ, and plus they're letting you swab your nose. They don't swab
That's
it.
true too. Yeah.
They hand you the stuff in the kit. Then they walk away. You don't even have to swab anything.
Yeah.
But if you really want to know, you better do a good job swabbing.
And that was my theory. My wife was like, do you really want to pay for this? I'm like, you 100% get what you pay for. So yeah, I want to pay for it because I want a real answer.
All right. So what's the deal? What are we looking at here? Here's another thing that's come up. The UFC contacted me because of the Vegas shows. Now I live in LA. Okay. So getting to Vegas is really not that big an issue. And if I have to, I can always jump in the car and drive 4 to 6 hours, whatever it takes.
Right.
But 11,000 flights in the last 24 hours have been canceled.
Like crazy. Now, they're dropping like flies.
They're dropping like flies. And all the people coming into, as an example, a UFC event, they're having canceled flights, having a hard time getting in there. They can't take chances with somebody like me or Anik or, Mike Bisbing or whatever the case might be, as far as commentating and announcers for the shows. So I just had to change my flights to earlier flights. And, It's just a
Right.
constant change. And I wonder what's going to happen now, because we were planning on going to all, different cities around the country. Columbus, Ohio, scheduled for March, which they just had the pre-ticket sale come out for. I'm sure it's still going to happen. We've got the January 22nd show here in Anaheim, California.
And how do you feel about that show, Bruce? Because I'm on that show with Frivola.
I'm not happy.
No, yeah, I'm just saying, is it, you think that show's happening though?
Oh yeah, no, I think it's happening, but it's like, then you got to ask yourself, when I say I'm not happy, it's because, listen, I got COVID in Vegas at a UFC or at the Raider game. We already talked about that. I'm sitting there with my mask and people are around me, behind me, spraying their cheers and their roars and everything. With this variant, and we're now with the mask issue that everybody's talking about, I mean, I just think we're going into one big stew pot.
Right. But at this point, guys, like, I hate to say it, and again, I'm fresh off of COVID. I still kind of feel it.
I am too, but I don't want to give it to anybody else.
Right. I understand that. But at the same time, I'm like, well, what are we going to do? Like, do we shut down again? Do we just keep going forward? I don't know what the right answer is. I think stay the course at this point, because we have the vaccines. People can get them or not get them. The numbers are still stupid, insanely high. Like, I don't know if stopping doing anything, guys, is a step in the right direction either.
The way I look at it, you ever see a film, Ray, like World War I, where they're in the trenches, they blow the whistle, and thousands of guys get up out of the trenches and run in a single line across, getting hit by machine gun fire and bullets and everything.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Maybe 25% of them make it, maybe whatever. Well, that's what it feels like. I feel like we're in the trenches. Every day we got to get up and charge across and live our lives, and we're either going to get shot or not. No matter, I got a bulletproof vest on, I got a vaccine on, I got whatever. Right. It's just against all odds, and that's where we're at. I mean,
I feel like it is Russian roulette at this point.
Yeah,
like I can't. You hear stories, who had it, was sleeping with somebody, the other guy didn't get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what? There's a million of those stories. I mean, I just, like a month ago, the girl cutting my hair had COVID while she was cutting it. I went and got tested. I was clear, but
see, how does that work? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I have no idea. I honestly, I think the social I don't know. Look, everybody's got a theory, but I think you have to be in those crowded environments with no circulation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's it. Like, if you're at a,
well, you said your wife didn't get it, right? Right? Like, how do your daughters get it and your wife doesn't? That's crazy.
Yeah. How is that possible?
Right, because you think it would be the other way around, because your daughters are obviously younger than your wife. The immune system theoretically would be better, but I don't know. Like, I just think, honestly, guys, I think some people just don't get it. Like, honestly, some people they're not wired to get it.
Well, I think they don't. I think they don't get it in two different ways. They don't get it physically. Right, they don't get it mentally.
Well, they could be asymptomatic, Bruce, for sure.
That meant that not getting it mentally might be the key factor.
Right.
That's a key factor why we're here where we're at.
Yeah.
Trump. Sorry. That's anyway, not going back 2 years ago to how this whole shit started and got worse and everything else.
Hey, by the way, I mean, you already said Happy New Year. It's still bizarre to me that it's 2022. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what happened in 2020. 2021 felt a little bit more normal, but like, God, guys, like, I honestly feel like there's this hole in our timeline of existence still.
Yes. Oh, no, it's not going anywhere. Really. That hole is staying there for a while.
That hole's sinking more. So let's just hope it stops.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to some other stuff. I'm sure COVID is going to come up while we talk about this. But just everybody stay safe, and again, don't throw out your mask. Okay, you can say whatever you want, but again, the KN and the N95 are the masks to wear. If you're going to go into an air, it's my last bit of advice. This is what I practice. I have other masks I'll wear when I'm out and about or doing whatever. But airports, if you're going to have dinner inside a restaurant, if you're going to go shopping inside a grocery store, whatever, if you have access to an N or a KN95, wear it. Okay, that's all I want to say. Wash your hands, back to the same protocol all over.
Right.
Again.
Yeah.
So, I just, kiddingly said the word Trump, but I got to talk about the January 6th thing, when I'm reading about in the news, and I'm happy to see this personally, the sentences that are being handed down to people participating in the riots. I think they've already sentenced like well over 100 individuals, some getting up to 4 years and years. And And now what's happening is that police officers that were attacked by the rioters, they're actually going forward and actually suing President Trump directly. I don't know if you saw this in the news.
No, I didn't see that, but I mean, it's hard to argue that, you know, actions weren't incited to a certain extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's going to be a long process for a lawsuit like that, but this is where it's going to, and it's just going to get more and more and more and more and more. So all that other things happening in the news, you know, this Epstein trial when they had Giselle Maxwell, you know, the lady that was his cohort or assistant or whatever you want to call it. She was found guilty on 5 of 6 counts related to her role in the Epstein abuse case of minors between 94 and 2004. It's going to be a nice jail sentence for that lady, I'm sure.
She looks like she's going to go away for a long time.
A long time.
I mean, I'll tell you, remember that's that case is just a disgrace in so many ways. The whole thing is just disgusting. But that Prince Andrew interview.
Yeah, he's the next one up.
I got to tell you, man, like just saying like the guy was convicted and you're staying at the guy's house, right? The next day you're at the guy's house. You know, he's a convicted sex offender, right? But and his explanation was it was convenient. I'm like, wow, this guy the more he said, the worse it got for me. I'm like, so you're willing to overlook that this guy abused young women because it was convenient to you? You're the fucking prince or whatever you are. You can't get a hotel somewhere else. I mean, the guy was bizarre. I thought it was the most bizarre interview I ever saw in my life.
Well, that interview is what got him in trouble, isn't it? Like further in trouble?
I don't know how it couldn't have. The fact that he didn't get it is even worse.
I don't know what to say. I was going to say again, you play, you pay, but there's other prominent figures that have stayed at that house. It'll be interesting to see what comes out about them too, you know, from President Clinton to President Trump to, you know, all that.
He was obviously he was literally a guy that had built dossiers on a lot of powerful people. And that's what he did it for. So when he got in trouble, he could pull some strings, you know, and I think it worked for a while, but you can't keep ignoring certain stuff. Eventually you get caught, right? But even like what happened in Florida when they gave him that deal with that guy Acosta, who I think that guy should be in jail. I mean, the guy had no prison sentence at all. I think he would have to report to the jail at like 9 o'clock at night. Something really bizarre.
Which one was that, Ray? What
that was the first time he got convicted in Florida.
Oh, Epstein?
Yeah, Epstein.
Right.
I think the prosecutor at the time was Acosta, Acosta, right, something like that. But he definitely fumbled the ball on that one, and it's just made a mockery out of everything.
Nothing new and nothing surprises me in this world. You know, you talk about court cases like this. I'll give you one that's kind of crazy. A court ordered a ruler of Dubai, to pay his ex-wife $728 million, right? In a divorce settlement, right? One of the largest settlements ever handed down by a UK court. Upfront payment of $333 million due in the next 3 months. Wow.
Pocket change for that guy. Pocket change.
Either that or he had a lousy prenup. Who knows?
Imagine if that was his prenup. 900 million.
Oh, Jesus. Now on a lighter side, something really, really cool. I mean, I love dinosaurs. I'm sure we all have a little fascination. They actually found a perfectly preserved baby dinosaur curled up inside its egg. A 70 million year old fossil. Wow. Preserved the embryonic skeleton, right? Wow. I'm not familiar with this breed. It's called an oviraptorid dinosaur, nicknamed Baby Ying Liang, in the Chinese museum that houses the fossil. But I'm looking at it here. It's a perfectly preserved. It's amazing to look at. This kind of stuff blows me away. I love this.
Yeah. Well, that's growing up, everybody, like I agree with you, everybody had a fascination with those dinosaur movies and stuff like that. It's crazy. That's nice.
I wonder how much this thing's going to go for on eBay or something.
It's not. It's pardon me. It's preserved in their museum. It's not going to go anywhere.
Never say never.
But it's China. I doubt that they're going to worry about all that. Let's talk a little football. We've got the last weekend of the season coming up. I'll be appearing for the Raiders on Sunday night on CBS football. Whether CBS shows me doing my thing or not, is wait to be seen. But you'll hear me in the background. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a good game. They're playing the LA Chargers. But I got to say, my Eagles are looking pretty good. The Philly Eagles. Ray, are you a football guy?
No,
Right in your face right there, you said, I don't give a fuck about football. Look at that.
Bruce, I got to tell you, man, I'm down to boxing and MMA, and boxing not even that much. I'm just down to MMA at this point. That's it.
All right. Well, let me mention one more thing about football, and then we're going to talk about a little bit about boxing. Okay. MMA, we can always discuss anything you want. TJ, did you see the Antonio Brown thing, him taking off his shirt and everything at the game?
Yeah, I still don't exactly know what the motivation was there. There's multiple stories about how the coach wanted him to go back in the game and he didn't want to. And then there's a flip side of that coin where he apparently was very close to fulfilling some incentives on his contract. And it sounded like maybe he was being prevented from fulfilling those incentives. I'm not exactly sure what the deal was.
Hey, whatever it was, if a guy did that and I was the coach of a team, I'd say, see ya. Don't want to be a.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem, though, with the NFL in particular. Like, you can screw up so many times and just set a bad example for who you are on and off the field, and one of those 32 teams will still give you an opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know if Antonio Brown's going to get another opportunity at this point because he's on, chance 7 or 8, but if he signs with the Cowboys this time next year, I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow.
Ray, again, you would remember this guy because of the age demographic, but again, you don't remember football. But
no. I'm good with football up until 1987, 88.
There was a player for the Dallas Cowboys back in the 70s named Dwayne Thomas. He was an amazing running back, and he was just like this guy, Antonio Brown, one of the most amazing talents out there. But the mental aspect just screwed up his entire game, And we've seen that happen with fighters and boxers.
Oh, all the time. Yeah. I think it's a sign. Yeah. It's just some guys, man, they just can't assimilate into like normal behavior or patterns of behavior. It's just, I see it sometimes even like with the young fighters down here, it's totally different, man. I'm on my way out, Bruce. Like it's like, I went out with, I was out with Iaquinta and Vellante and Sarah the other night. And it's just like, I go, dude, this is it, man. This is the last of the dying breed. That whole Weidman, Alec, they're gone. It was a big part of, the team the last 15 years. But it was a 15-year run. Weidman obviously still wants to fight. We still got Aljo and Marab. But, after that, man, it's that's what you're looking at. No, who doesn't want to get hit in sparring? Who doesn't want to do this? I'm training too hard. It's crazy.
Right.
Crazy what I have to. I'm not sure how much longer. I still got a couple of really young kids that are just phenomenal, but there's guys that I'm like, what the fuck am I even doing this for? I never wanted it to get big either. That's why I always liked having the 5 or 6 core guys and doing it like that. But this is weird.
First off, I would love to have been at that dinner. I saw that picture. That was Italian.
Oh yeah, I said no. Next time you're in, you did comment. I said next time you're in New York. Dinner's on me, right? So I think so, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. What was that restaurant you were at? And
Eddie's. You. It's like an iconic place on in New Hyde Park, Long Island.
No,
he was the first guy with his own thin crust pizza.
Nice, my favorite.
Really nice.
I'd be into a 5-pound weight gain evening with you guys just for the laughs and giggles that will be going on. It would just be so much fun.
No, we had a great time. It was great getting everybody together.
Hey, real quick on what Ray was talking about with the generational sort of shift, I think in MMA. One thing I'm with you, Ray. I mean I love MMA, what it's done for honestly all of us to have a career in this space. But there was something great about when there were only like 4 or 5 UFCs a year, and it was sort of our little thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll never have those days, probably for the better again. But one thing I will say, and maybe this is smarter on behalf of the athletes, but I feel like, 15, 20 years ago, you saw a lot of guys training because they loved the sport and they loved.
No question about it.
Now, maybe the passion isn't exactly what, propels these athletes anymore. And maybe that's better. Maybe they, treat themselves like business people and your body is your instrument and things like that. But I do feel like there are some challenges that fighters used to push through because they loved the game to where they don't push through as hard these days, Ray?
Well, look, TJ, think about it. If you're getting back in the day, you're getting 7-7, right? You're not fighting for the money.
Right.
You're not fighting for the money. You're
No.
fighting because you love to fight. That's the biggest difference.
Yep.
And then, like Conor McGregor, as good as he was for the sport, everybody wants to then, it's the old saying, it takes 20 years to become an overnight sensation. Well, these guys want to take 20 months to become an overnight. So that's what I'm feeling. Like, they're not willing to put the time. They don't see the work, that these guys put in to get to where they were. They just see the end result, and then they want to be there tomorrow. And that's what I'm feeling like with some of these guys. They're not willing to put the time in.
It's crazy to me, though. Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah. This is the fast food mentality of today's generation. It's an ADD generation.
Yeah.
Generated in so many different ways, from the point when they're growing up to the media out there, to the phones, and I've said this before, we used to read magazines before the internet where we read 4- and 5-page articles, right? Then it became capsulized articles. Now it's capsulized on the internet. It's like quick read, quick fix, quick this. Conor McGregor, multi-millions of dollars. I want to be like him tomorrow. It's not the patience of what it takes to make this work. You remind me of Magic Johnson when he took over coaching in his first coaching gig, and he quit like very shortly after. And, we've been friends a long time. And I said, Magic, what happened? He goes, Buff, I can't relate to these young personalities anymore.
I'm with him 100%.
And that was his 100%. Answer to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and this is one of the greatest basketball players ever.
Yes.
They don't look up and respect what this guy's saying. He can't relate to him. That's pretty crazy to me.
I know.
What's crazy to me too, though, is this modern landscape where you have these athletes that, maybe rip off 4 wins when they get to the UFC, and there's a ranked opponent in front of them. Now some of these athletes, like, I don't want to fight a ranked guy on my first contract. This has been a sport where you make the most of opportunities when they're presented to you. Yeah, maybe there's something I'm missing, a disconnect when I'm not the athlete, and you want to go out there and try to make as much money as you can. But the idea that someone doesn't want to fight a ranked opponent seems counterintuitive to what the sport is all about.
Without a doubt. There's a lot of guys like that. They're not getting paid enough, and they don't want to do it. I've heard a bunch of examples of that. Instead of, like you say, let me fight the ranked opponent so I can make the money. Right. I think that's the model.
I think it's called, let me pay my dues.
Yeah, right. I mean, you got a guy like Weidman, the guy's up to 25 surgeries. Like, it might look like he's doing great now, and he is doing, financially he's doing well, but he had to put his body through fucking hell for that. Like, these guys, God forbid they twist their fucking pinky. It's I'm telling you, I'm not joking, man. It's getting crazy. And like, again, the older I get, I try to understand, right? I don't want to see anybody get hurt. So, I start acquiescing. It's nuts, man.
I'm going to say it again. And I'm not saying that there aren't tough young people born male and female every day. And when I say tough, not just physically, but mentally and everything, but from my experience and my observations, looking at it objectively, each generation's getting weaker.
I think so.
I'm not talking, again, there's performances and people that will stand out. But
but as a generalization, I think
it's
correct.
Getting weaker.
Yeah, there's always the outliers and everything that are going to prove you wrong. But for the most part,
if you're a guy or a girl especially, you can go to fans only page and do something slightly erotic in your private membership and suddenly be making 10, 20,000, God knows even a lot more, and more power to them overnight. Where's the effort to do what it takes to work for other things? I mean, the easy money's there in so many respects. And everybody thinks they can achieve that.
I look at my grandfather's generation, the men and women that were responsible for getting this country through World War II.
The toughest generation.
I don't think that my generation gets that job done. I hate to say that, but I worry about that today. If my generation was in charge of getting this country through those times, I don't know if they do it as well.
Well, we're going through a lot now. Let's hope we don't go through something like that, but we are, we're going through a lot now in different ways.
Yeah.
We just argue about everything. That's the problem.
Well, okay, there we go. Let's see. We're searching for positives here to start off the year.
Hey, I think we're all in alignment. Like, I feel positive about this conversation.
That's positive. By the way, Topps trading cards, Fanatics, which from my theory, Fanatics was the one that put those stick 'em figures up on the wall, Fanatics and stuff.
I think so.
Fatheads.
Fanatics.
I just know the Fathead one that you're.
Oh, that was Fathead, right?
Yeah.
Well, Fanatics is another company, but they just bought Tops for $500 million.
Wow.
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 500 million for
500
Tops.
million.
Wow.
Yeah. Considering their history, I would think it would have been more, but that's still a very, very hefty price. And you know, these fake title rings, you know, people selling title rings on the internet, or whether it's a Super Bowl ring.
Oh
or
yeah, like
something
the
else.
championship rings. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection people, they just announced they seized 56 shipments
Yeah.
of counterfeit championship rings from China during 3 months from October through December. 1,382 rings and trophies. The merchandise, if the merchandise had been genuine, they would have been worth $982 million.
Have you seen some of these things?
Yeah, I mean, they look
Pictures?
at
Well,
first sight, they look amazing, but
right.
you know, you can definitely get in there and see if they're fake or not.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't look hard enough, it's hard to see the issues. But there was one I saw, a Kansas City Chiefs championship ring, and it spelled chefs instead of Chiefs. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's things like that.
Well, in 2019, the same organization, they seized $2.2 million worth of fake Nike shoes in Los Angeles.
Oh man.
That's crazy. You know what an NFT is, Ray?
I don't know what it is, but I know what you're talking about. Some sort of image that I don't understand what the hell's going on.
You can't hold it in your hand, but you can look at it on your computer, and it's called a collectible.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll probably become. It is unbelievable, but another sign of, you know, modern day advancement, if you want to call it that. I'm a collector of stuff, as you know, but I want to hold it in my hand and be able to trade it back and forth. There's this one called the Bored Ape, an NFT. There's so many of them, but it's called the Bored Ape. It's worth $284,495. Go figure, right? So there were 10,000 pieces of this original digital NFT art sold out on the Ethereum blockchain. Again, we'll have to explain that to you, Ray, as I still need to have it explained to me. Well, guy goes and he sells it, but he lists it wrong. His $284,000 plus NFT, he forgot to put in one little digit, and it sold for $2,844.
Oh man.
He's got to honor the sale.
Wow.
He's got to honor the sale. So he lost all that money. It's crazy.
That's really, that's a big error.
That's a big error. Sure, he's going like this.
I mean, I don't know what drives that market, though. You know what I mean? Like, we hardly know what NFTs are.
Right. So who is driving them? Well, we don't.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you one thing about it.
Doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know.
You know, they were going through the pedestal of the statue of Confederate Robert E. You know, the General Robert E. Lee from the Civil War.
Yeah.
In Richmond, Virginia. And when they were going through it, they found a container that was made of lead. It was corroded, right? So it took a number of hours for the expert to chip away at it. What they found inside is an 1875 almanac. 2 withered books, a coin, and a cloth envelope were among the artifacts inside the base of this capsule.
Wow.
I love this kind of stuff. I love when they find stuff like that.
See, I understand the value there. I could get why that could
value.
go for, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I would think so. They don't mention it, but it's just the fact that they would find something like that in there.
I mean, I'd rather have that than the Bored Ape. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
In a friggin' heartbeat. Definitely. Ray, did you see Spider-Man yet?
No, I haven't.
$1 billion plus at the box office.
I heard it's great though. We were talking about it last night.
My boys say it's the best Spider-Man yet. Everybody I talk to is the best Spider-Man yet. 2.5 hours of film that feels like it's an hour and a half, and I haven't seen it yet, but I plan on seeing it.
Wow. Yeah, I'm weird on that too. I'm looking for a lot of character-driven movies I can't find anymore. But
yeah, give me a good plot. Oh no, what's the new Leonardo DiCaprio film on Netflix?
Oh, Don't Look Up. It is
Don't Look
awesome.
Up.
That is one of the better movies I've seen.
on there. I'm looking for something to watch.
Oh, there you go, Ray. Right there.
Netflix, Ray. I want a full Ray Longo movie review on that one. I think you'll like it.
I might watch it tonight.
Do it.
That's
that
awesome.
one, and I also highly recommend The Last Duel with Ben Affleck.
Oh wow, I want to
Matt
see
Damon.
that too. Yeah,
I kind of avoided it for a little, but then I watched it and I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, they're good. Those guys, really good.
Well, good acting here because they're all out of character playing. They're actually, you know, not they're, I'm going to say they're actually acting. They always act, excuse me. Academy Award winning actor, Matt Damon and all. But definitely worth the watch. A lot of action, you know, some good sex there for you, Ray. All good in. Got everything we all enjoy like watching. So
yeah, violence, sex, and money.
There you go. I think it's all in there.
I'm in.
Well, speaking of violence, sex, and money, I don't know about the sex, I don't know about the money, but the violence, and we'll talk about the violence is here. Cobra Kai is back.
That I like. I've been watching.
But isn't it amazing? Because I like it too. But isn't it amazing that we all remember the original Karate Kid? Those of
Never
us that
saw
it. Yeah. Well,
Never saw it.
Whoa.
Never saw it.
He's serious, Ray.
Yeah.
He's serious.
You never saw the Karate Kid.
Nope.
Watch it with your son.
See, Bruce, I like the fact that they brought back all the old guys just to give them a platform to make some money. I think that's what I enjoy out of it too. But it's great reminiscing, and these guys are still around. It's crazy.
I love the fact they brought back the old guys. A little side story to this, and they're doing a great job. The two main characters, Rough Macho and the other gentleman.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm forgetting his name.
And they're both Long Island guys too, believe it or not.
Oh, very cool. Nice resurgence. Yeah. I mean, Macho's always worked. The other gentleman, there's a nice resurgence to his career, which is really
good.
I
think it's beautiful.
And then they brought back the Cobra Kai kids from the original film, some of them. But my buddy Chad McQueen, Steve McQueen's son, played the blonde-headed kid in the original. You're dead meat. You're dead meat. Right before the main thing. And they dyed his hair blonde for the movie because Steve's hair was blonde. He's actually a brunette. But he's been in 2 very serious car accidents, racing cars, and it's affected his ability to do certain things. So they were talking about bringing him back for the season, but they haven't brought him back yet for that one. So.
Oh wow! But
Ray,
they're gonna bring him back.
They probably will. But Ray, as much as we know fighting, okay, let's be real. Even in the original, I fought point tournaments when I was in my teens too. Okay, but it's just so pleasantly, lovingly hokey, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think, Bruce, that's the beauty of it, because we obviously are in the highest level of fighting, but there was still something nice about it. We know it's hokey.
It was great.
I think that's why they did a good job, because we all want to look the little, Miyagi with the bonsai trees, and catching the flats. It's cool, so like Bruce, that's how we kind of grew up with.
Totally.
There was no internet. I tell guys, Bruce, and you can appreciate that. Back in like 1980, if a guy fought in Thailand, there was no way of knowing what happened. You don't even get you. Right. You would find out 9 months later in a magazine, unless you knew a guy in Thailand. You were making a phone call, but that was unlikely. But there was the access of information just wasn't there. No, like it was a big deal to pick up a magazine and get year-old news. Right. It's just nuts the way that is. So I think there's, it still had a little of the mystique. We all want, like the guy clapping his hands and healing the wound. It's a fantasy. You like to just get in there and disappear for a while. So nostalgia. I think I swear to God, I think when we're doing what we do, to me, it's relaxing to see that. You know what I mean? If it's done the right way.
Listen, it's entertainment, and we all did the point fighting stuff, and it's like I remember I was watching the segment. I don't want to give anything away, but when the guy's name is William Zabka, that's the other fella.
Yeah.
So when Zabka and Macho in the new series say, well, we need to finish this to the end, right?
Yeah.
I thought they were going to fight to the friggin' death, right? And then they come on and they're point fighting. Ipo, it's like, wait a minute. I thought we were going to have some blood and guts here. What was going on, right?
See that, but I think that, like, again, that's the thing. Look, we could get crucified for this, right? But it's fun. Look, the choreography, all the old karate inward blocks out. It's fucking funny. I don't know, but it does take you back to a time when you were like 11, 12 years old. It's just. I think that's the beauty of it for us, because we're the same age, but
so it takes you back to when you guys were waxing off.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Waxing on and waxing off in more ways than one.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, I'm still waxing on.
No, fortunately, not unfortunately.
No,
fortunately.
No, you might be right. Fortunately,
be happy you can still wax off. Okay.
Yeah. I take that back. You're right.
But let me not take back, but elaborate a little more. For all the dojos out there, listen, I'm second degree Tang Sudo, and it's not like we didn't do the sparring and all that. And then I kickboxed all the years, and then we really went at it and tried to knock each other the hell out every day of our lives. We were in the gym, right? But point fighting serves a purpose. You never know who you are till you're punched in the face. I don't want people to suddenly go into a big fight and have their heads knocked off, although that happens. So it's a way of easing into the whole thing. And eventually for me, I needed to fight for real. I needed to get out of the point fighting because I had a number of street fights and all that. And the point fighting wasn't fulfilling for me what worked me back then in my martial arts endeavors. And that's what drove me to kickboxing, was to get in there and just either get knocked out or knock the other guy out, do it for real.
Yeah. But
So-
Bruce, even going back to those times, how special was it when you're 12 or 13 walking into a dojo, the smell of the dojo, and just the guy with the black belt on? It was just a cool time. It was a really great period.
It was
It's
a great
almost
feeling, but we were taught to respect
right.
our
It was just-
sensei.
Like, again, if you were around the right people, it brings you back to a really nice part of your life, man. Whether
No
it's
question.
functional or not, nobody's disagreeing with that. But the ambiance of those places was nice. It really was. And it was special. And for whatever the reason was, I don't know. But I had a great time growing up doing it. And but whatever happened back then, I always say, like one of my instructors, he was good enough to keep my interest going for years. So until, things leveled out with the kickboxing, like you say, and the MMA. But
going back
it's
to what
all
you
about,
were- Oh, go ahead.
it's all about, respect for your instructor, your sensei, whatever. It's like my friend, Kitty, who owns the Undisputed Fight Academy down here in Manhattan Beach, teaching Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, and mainly Muay Thai to our students. When I go down there and see those kids and they're training and yeah, they spar and they do nice, good steady sparring, even a little more than the point. I mean, it's so good for them. It's just
without a
so
doubt.
good for them. And that's
Yeah.
the beauty. I'm all for your choice of martial art. If you want to be mixed martial art, if you want to be jits, if you want to be Muay Thai, it's your choice. But hopefully that dojo is training you with that respectful atmosphere that we're trying to get across here.
I just want to go back to something that Ray talked about, people fighting in Thailand and waiting a year to get that news and stuff. Like that passion and that furious sort of fervent fandom. I think that's good for anybody. And it brings me back to mixed martial arts back in the day when, the UFC would put on these events and the prelims weren't on television. I remember buying the DVDs of events that were months old because, I didn't get to see, a Chris Lytle fight or something on the prelims because it didn't make the pay-per-view broadcast. I missed those times. I missed trying to go out there and hunt for something that wasn't easily accessible.
I agree. Look, man, again, I'm going 10, 15 years before you're even talking about, but I would ride my bicycle 10 miles just because there was only one store that sold that magazine, like Karate Illustrated or
Right.
Black Belt magazine. And it was like, you just picked up the holy grail, what I mean? But again, you're a kid. And again, you had to work for it, man. I did some just wacky shit. I probably tortured a lot of my friends. We got to go here. We got to do this guy, but we're talking about, we're in 1973, 74, 75. It was just, look, to me, it was a great period of time. And I don't know. I think it helped make me who the fuck I am today with the MMA. I mean, I could have, if I wasn't interested or that stuff didn't interest me, I would have never been here today. So whatever was happening, I owe a lot of gratitude, whether it, was bullshit, if the forms were bullshit or this and that. But you know what? It kept me interested until everything else came around. And I think I always stayed, a little ahead of the curve for most of the stuff.
Ray, it's like it kept you off the streets.
Yeah, no, it was crazy.
It's great. And I hope that the kids today that are going through, training what they're training today, whether it's in a dojo, point fighting, or, the extreme aspects that we all know of, whatever it might be, it's all good.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey,
It's all good.
Hey, Bruce, and back in the day, like even in high school, if you were studying martial arts, you were told not even to tell anybody because you always wanted the element of surprise.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was maybe like a handful of guys in high school. It was almost like a secret society. Oh, you're studying over there. You didn't really talk about it out in the open like it did. It wasn't until I think like the Taekwondo and the Koreans in the 80s, they started teaching kids and everybody was confused. How could a 8-year-old be a black belt?
Right.
Like it got a little wacky. But before that, it was really on the down low. I mean, I had a kickboxer. His mother didn't even know he was taking martial arts. Like it was just something that was always kind of hidden, which was, it was cool. Like you had your own secret society going.
We had our crew out here. I was training with Chuck Norris's fighting partners, a man named Bobby Burbage and another man named Pat Johnson, who went on to do choreography and movies.
Sure. Big time.
Yeah, big time guys. And we it wasn't a braggadocio type thing. It's like, hey, we trained 2-3 times a week together and hard sparred together and went at it. And it was a brotherhood.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Totally cool. It was our thing.
Good times, man. There's something to take away from that. Like we're not seeing that now, but there's a guy in here still teaches Taekwondo. But I see he's got like people 68 years old, 70 doing forms. I think it's great. They're still moving.
I think it's great, even if they're doing Tai Chi.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's your personal journey, right? Like whether it's mixed martial arts or traditional martial arts, it's all about what you get from it.
TJ, it's like Bruce said, running water never goes stale, my friend. You got to keep moving. I don't give a shit what you're doing. Sitting on the couch ain't going to help you. You got to just keep moving at any cost.
Speaking of keeping moving, a feel-good story on this. I could talk about this all day long because, like, I'm all about the kids. I'm all about the teens. I'm all about the adults. I'm all about just doing whatever it takes to keep you mentally and physically healthy and happy, to deal with the shite world we live in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Without a doubt.
So a Saturday shift turned into a bit of an act of heroism for a Minnesota teen. Get this, a 15-year-old named Sydney Rayleigh, right? She clocked in for a Saturday shift at McDonald's in Eden Prairie, Minneapolis.
Eden Prairie, Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's right next to the city I grew up in.
Well, she didn't expect to clock out as a hero. She was working at McDonald's for around 7 months. And this was just another weekend routine shift, making coffee, making drinks, going to the lunch rush, the whole bit. So after handing a customer some of her food at a drive-through, right, she popped back out the window to let her know the rest was on the way. And she noticed the woman had grabbed a chicken nugget and she started choking on it in her car, right in the front seat.
Oh, no.
Right? She looked so freaked out. She knew, she was choking. She jumped through the window to help the woman and perform the Heimlich maneuver and solve the situation, dislodge the food out of her throat, the whole bit. 15 years old. Good for her.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I think that's great.
And this is why you wait to eat at home and not in the car. Just saying.
TJ, that might have been one of the funniest things.
Well, they said congratulations to her. She got $100 from a fund they use for people who do good work in the community. You know what? Whatever the case might be, I'm looking at the picture of this young girl with a big smile on her face. I'll say it again. I love seeing things like this.
100%. Good for her, man. That's a hero. That's a tough guy, right there.
Total.
But guys, I hate to do this, man. They call me into the gym. I gotta run. I love just chopping it up with like the lighthearted shit like this, but
we're gonna get you back with Sammy, Ray. I know you want to be on with Sammy. We're gonna get you back with Sammy.
Sammy, come on, man. She's got to help me with my sex life.
No, I think she'll help you in more than one way, Ray. She's smitten with you.
My sex life is in the toilet. You got to help.
All right, that's the subject of the next show: how to get your sex life out of the toilet.
Listen, Bruce, you come to New York. We're hitting Eddie's. I'm telling you, it's been there for 100 years. You're gonna love it.
It's a date. Done. Next New York show. We're in.
100%. Let's do it. TJ, keep in touch, buddy.
Always a pleasure, Ray. Thank you.
All right, take it easy, guys.
Bye, Ray. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. Stay safe.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
It's all right, Ray. I'm gonna hang up on you. There we go. Ray Longo, one of the best in the business.
Ray Longo, always a pleasure to have on the show. Definitely will make him a constant. He's just a kick in the ass. So funny. Well, I think we covered a number of things here. We didn't really talk at a UFC because there's no show until the 15th.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a lull, which, during my bout with COVID has been appreciated. I feel like I haven't missed too much, but I'm just ready to get back in the swing of things, Bruce. Like, I saw someone on Twitter asking if this show was still a thing. We take a couple weeks off. People start to get worried. We're obviously back, and it's good to be back, Bruce. Thanks for being patient throughout this period.
Oh, my pleasure, and definitely had some stuff to take care of myself at the end of the year, but we're back. First show of the year, 364 more shows, or rather, 51 more shows to go over a 364 5-day period, whatever. It's not a leap year this year, is it?
I have no idea. I mean,
I don't either.
Yeah.
Anyway. I will see you Sunday night, hopefully on CBS for the Raider game.
We'll definitely hear you one way or another. We always get to hear
me.
you, it sounds like.
Did you see the new jacket that I wear?
No. I mean, I don't get to see you, unfortunately.
Oh, the King and Bay made me this incredible jacket for the Raiders.
I think I've seen it online. It's silver and black.
Online with the emblem on the back and the whole bit.
It looks awesome.
It's pretty friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. All right, TJ, let's sign off. New year. Let's go ahead.
Let's see here. What do we got going on? Extra Rounds. You can check that out with myself, Pearl Gonzalez, Ray Longo. It is available live Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time on the UFC Fight Pass Facebook page. You can also subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts. And if you want to watch the video archive, you can do that anytime over on facebook.com/UFC Fight Pass, or just look at Fight Pass proper and search for Extra Rounds.
Fantastic. And for me, I'd like to say that It's Time Radio is brought to you by FanDuel, the #1 sports book in the USA. Definitely check out FanDuel online for your fantasy sports and betting on sports. We got the last week of football coming up and all the playoffs coming up. Also brought to you by the finest, sweetest tasting bourbon in America, 6 gold medal award winning Puncher's Chance bourbon. I'm very proud of my bourbon. Looking for a huge year. We just came off a big year in 2021 and 2022. Huge year. 12-year reserve is out. I'll show you that bottle next week. My case is being delivered this week. Already sold out. 2,000 cases. They're gone.
Unbelievable. That's great.
120 a bottle, TJ. That's
great.
$30 a bottle. That's going to sell for 120 a bottle. It's that good. It's so good. And It's Time Energy coming to the United States in February. Got a big secret. You ever hear those Hudson News stores in the airport?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I hit those up all the time when I'm traveling. Nice. Where's my cherry
I don't know
limeade?
what I just said, but you can figure out what I just said.
Where's my limeade? I want that flavor, Buff.
One thing they told me, lime in the ingredients of mixture for taste might not come out as well tasting as the others do because of the other ingredients or something about lime. They're working on it. We're working on it right now.
I mean, it's just we need a lime flavored beverage so we can have It's Lime.
Okay, you got it. No problem. I'm working on it.
It's lime.
Listen, TJ, I want to wish you and your family a very happy, prosperous, and healthy new year in 2022. We got a lot ahead of us.
We started it off on the wrong foot, but we can only go up from here.
No, you didn't start. You ended. What?
That's
the COVID
true.
extended to 2000?
I mean,
no, you ended 2021.
Yeah, I still feel a little bit under the weather, but we're like I said, we're moving up. It's only up from here.
Cut it as a clean slate. Look at it as moving up.
Yes, sir.
Like I always say, I try to end the year strong and positive, end the year surrounded by the people and the business and everything you want to go through the new year with, and realize who your teammates are and realize who your teammates aren't,
Well, I'm happy to be your teammate, Buff.
That's it. That's the point I was trying to get across. Happy to be your teammate too. Happy to be a teammate to all our amazing listeners all around the world. Thank you. We love you. Really appreciate it. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is building. Lots of things going on in It's Time Radio this year. Lots of things going on in TJ's career, my career, but most of all, I want to wish everybody out there that a lot of things are going on for you. Positive for health, wealth, prosperity, happiness, love, everything going with it. Have a wonderful 2022, and we'd like to share it with you, so be part of it with us. On that note, set your goals, write them down, learn about them. So when you walk on that path, you perform the best you can. And if you're performing at the best you can, then you're winning. And if you're #1, then you're really winning. And that's what we're all about in It's Time Radio. So big cheers, no fears for 2022. Buffer out. See you next week.